So I am here in beautiful Gualala, taking a walk with my friend Gail Taylor. This is the Gualala River.
The bright sun in my eyes.
Right. Perfect for video opportunity. So Gail, I was wondering if you would tell me, you were telling me something really interesting about this this woman, Eleanor Ellsworth, at the Santa Fe Institute. Elizabeth Ellsworth, and I was wondering if you could share some of what you've been watching from her and reading about her stuff and
well, I just discovered her yesterday, but it was like discovering an old friend, and I was watching her video at Santa Fe Institute, where she is a guest spending a few weeks there as a invited guest. And she was actually talking to the group on complexity and how education and complexity needed to work more closely together. And her work, I can't remember any of the real terms that she used for it, but she really talks about education in a remarkable way, and in such a natural way, I think, in terms of coming to where we are in the world today with all of our old answers we can't depend on anymore, and they're letting us down, and we're disappointed in them. And there are all these new questions and new answers surfacing, and she talks about that we're in a space where no longer will we're moving out of answers, and we're moving into a space where we're constantly doing knowledge in the making, and that wicked solutions are entanglements of such complexity, and they are very difficult to untangle, and that we can't untangle them with all the processes of how we learned top-down hierarchical answers that are separated out, and you get down and you reductionists. So we're not going to do that anymore. So how do we then create wicked solutions, which are how do we teach our students and ourselves to risk wicked solutions, and to risk doing things that we haven't done before and trying things that we haven't done before? And to her, and I would say also to me, it's all about really deep collaboration, because none of us have the answers, but together we can figure it out, and we can try things and look at new patterns of relationships and how things actually can be. But we're no longer going to be able to be satisfied, well, we have that answer and now we can go on to something else. And it's all about giving kids the education they need in order to make the contributions they need to make, and they actually want to make in this new world.
What about the adults? I mean, I'm not worried about the kids.
I mean, she's excited, and I'm excited about that. All of when I started working with kids and saw how creative they were, when I created more of an open space for them to be creative, and they taught me so much. And my first question out of that is, can adults learn? What are we too ill-formed? And I began to see what was natural. And the Industrial Revolution way of learning and pitting ourselves against each other. Yes, we've done remarkable things, but it's not natural.
Yeah.
And so I think good processes and context, we need to constantly reframe what is learning. What does it, how do you make meaning? What are the new patterns? If we can learn those things, and I think we can, because I think people are so frustrated with the dead ends. And so when we reframe that, I believe people will learn easily. I mean, it's one of those tipping points again. I think we're really reaching a tipping point in education to where people are just giving up. And in that giving up, whole new frameworks open up and whole new possibilities. Some people will go into hiding, but a lot of people are out there saying, let's try this, let's try this, let's try this.
So you've been creating these spaces to bring people together, bring adults and children together, and leading them through processes where they can learn and collaborate. And you've been doing this for a really long time. What you're describing to me right now sounds very hopeful. And what I'm wondering is what is it that you're seeing in the world? What have you seen just in your experience that gives you this hope that we can turn this around, that we'll find these wicked solutions, that we can learn how to learn together?
Well, what gives me hope is that it's what people want, and you see it over and over in every process. You just see it. Now, what gives me despair is the fact that people leave being in touch with each other and in collaboration with each other, and they fall back into old habits.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm looking for, and what I think Elizabeth is in fact doing research and proving, and part of that's it, because for Matt and me it's always been, we do it, but there's not the research that proves it.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't come from the university environment. Well, this is coming from the right places.
Mm-hmm. And so it's validating.
Right,
it's
it's really validating. And we'll get some of that validating, and then it will begin falling into place. And I think as it falls into place, and other solutions like the Khan Institute of self-learning, and there's a lot happening now. I think the games, that you and I have talked about, I think there's a game that can open up people playing games that actually are life games. They're Earth games. They're the next generation of how do we make something happen. And we have the technology, we have the tools, we have the internet, we have the research going on, we have so much going on now. How can it merge together and cohere into something significant? And part of that, as Elizabeth says, comes from tragedy, or comes from earthquakes or happenings that open up the opportunity for people to change. And of course, that's coming at a faster and faster rate as well. So it's another thing unfolding upon itself that I think can create the future. So I get despair. I get discouraged when I see people just doing wonderful things, and then after the event going, well, that wasn't real. But I believe that's going to happen less and less. In fact, I hear it happening less and less, and people are actually going, that was real. How do we make that happen?
Mm-hmm. The experiences that they're having in these foreign environments for them is becoming less and less foreign.
Yeah.
And they're starting to as a whole.